everybody? Welcome back to the High Notes Podcast, episode number 4. 4 episodes deep. I'm your host, Brian, with my co-host here.
This week, I'll be going for Ariel. Switching it up.
He's unpredictable, ladies and gentlemen. He's unpredictable. All right, McNasty Butt. We got another diverse set of topics to talk about. We have an interview, plus what else is in the news this week, aside from the interview later on?
We got DMX, Lil Nas X, KD, Michael Rappaport, Qauvo Sweetie videos, and Biden admin defending the foreign students and ICE fake college things. And then New York finally think about legalizing weed, or they're deep in the process about to sign off. So all my weed heads in New York, I mean, y'all were doing fine before, but now you got that weight off your shoulders a little bit.
Big fact. All right, McNasty. So let's just start it off from the top. Let's start into this DMX story. What the fuck is happening here?
Where the hood at? DMX is gonna be okay. I believe it. DMX is a fighter, bro. He's been around for a long time. I think this one OD not gonna take him out. But I was real surprised. I didn't know he was still doing drugs like that.
All right, so for the people who don't understand what we're talking about here, so DMX, just yesterday is when this was reported, right? Yesterday, he suffered, guessing like an overdose. I'm not sure exactly what type of drugs he was taking, but he OD'd, ended up in the emergency room, and he was like on life support, like at the edge of dying, and just barely made it back. They took him off of life support the same day, so I believe he's stable right now. I'm not sure if he's up and talking yet, but yeah, this man OD'd. What the hell? How old is DMX? Can you search that up real quick? How old is DMX?
Is like pushing 60, I believe. Like,
let me double check.
In the 50s. Like, what drugs are you still doing?
DMX is 50 years old doing hard drugs still.
50. He looks
like, what the fuck? You're too old for this, my guy.
Yeah, there's a point where you just gotta be like, yeah, I don't know. Gotta relax. But nah, man, DMX, hip hop legend. Yeah, hope everything goes all right with him, man. It'll be a devastating loss.
Big facts. Sending good vibes to him and his family. Hopefully he comes out of this okay. Now, speaking of celebrity news here, we got the Lil Nas X sneakers in the news. Have you seen these, McNasty?
I'm not gonna lie, bro.
Say something crazy.
Fire. Them shit.
Like, I hope your priest is watching this right now.
This is gonna be the next thing, though. Like, the shoe is hard. The colors are hard. The drop of blood shit's kind of weird. The drop of human blood and the 666 thing and the pentagram. You can take that off, replace the pentagram with something else. The shoe will still be hard.
All right, so listen. So for the audience that's not understanding what's happening here, for the unaware, Lil Nas X did a Nike collab, but it wasn't with Nike. It's with a brand named Mischief. So now this is not their first like religious shoes that this brand has done either. They actually made a shoe that had water from the River Jordan inside of the shoes, like blessed water, like holy water inside of the shoes. So they've done the complete opposite of this.
Oh.
Now, yeah. Now this is what
the theme.
I know, but this is what got me a little pissed here, because Nike is right now suing Mischief for the Devil Satan shoes. But they didn't sue him for the other shoes either.
Oh, so
they're not even consistent.
Yeah, yeah, because the way the story was like unraveling, it seemed like Mischief just took a bunch of Air Maxes that like Nike was selling, and without their permission, kind of just modified them and promoted.
Yeah, but here's the thing: they legally bought the shoes. They bought like in bulk.
So
they bought it. They bought it.
Retail price?
Yeah, retail.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Nike can't be mad. You sold them the product. So it makes zero sense to me for Nike to be pissed right now. This is on them for like not vetting who's buying a shit ton of shoes in bulk. That's on them.
Thanks. Nah, yeah, that is on them. I agree with you 100% because they're buying your product and then they're just modifying it and reselling it.
That's what I'm saying.
A whole lot of extra shit to it. Like, because what's the point of putting a drop of human blood on there? You know what I'm saying? Like for all the Satanists, that probably
for all the Satanists.
You imagine like you got one of these shoes, like you remember Like Mike, the movie. No! But they gotta do it.
No! But whose blood did they get for this? Who volunteered?
Like, where did they get in this blood from? Is there something illegal behind the scenes? Or like, you probably go to get your blood tested. They'll be like, nah, these are doing some Lil Nas X shoes right now. Like, where are they getting this blood from? That's another question. Because I don't think it's Lil Nas X's blood.
Whose blood is it? Who is donating their blood for this project? That's wild. This shoe is wild in my opinion. Now, how did you feel about that? Did you see actually the music video that was dropped with this song? You haven't seen the video either. All right.
I haven't even listened to the music video, but I heard because I'm on Twitter.
I've heard of the song. I've seen 30 seconds into the video and I noped right out of it. I couldn't even finish the video. I was like, nope. What the fuck am I watching?
Lap dance that happens in the first 30 seconds?
No. That happens towards the end, I think, when from what I understand. But from the first,
like the main focal point, of, like everybody spazzing out.
The entire video is like some satanic fucking Garden of Eden going down into hell type shit. I was like, bro, what the fuck? You're doing too much. You're doing too much, bro.
Is the song a banger though? Like,
honestly, the song's not even that good. All the white people love it because they're white. The song's not even good.
Industry plant music.
Industry plant, bro. He did admit it. He is an industry plant, and nobody believes him. Shit's crazy.
It's crazy how we went from Old Town Road, like a dude being a cowboy, to this shit.
But here's the thing. Even Old Town Road, if you actually listen to like the lyrics, he's talking about like doing lean and shit. Like, what the fuck? Cowboys weren't doing lean. No one saw this. Like
the music video was it was just him in the Old Town Road. Old Town. And he was on the road too, so that makes sense.
It made sense.
Open it up.
Oh man. All right. So, how are we feeling on these shoes? Are we buying them or not?
I would buy them to resell them.
The resale is gonna be crazy on those shoes.
Bussin'. Only 666 release.
Yeah.
You're making money.
Sheesh. What's your estimated like on StockX? What do you think the price is gonna be?
$5K.
45,000?
No, $4,000 or $5,000. Double or triple.
I'm going to say that these are gonna be worth at least $6,666. I promise you. That's gonna be the retail.
That's gonna be the retail.
On StockX, that's gonna be the resale value. Yeah.
I don't know about that, buddy. Yo, matter of fact, putting it up right here when we release the video. Snapchat.
Wait up. Give me a second. Let me share my screen. Because from my understanding, the shoe already sold out.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. In like the first couple minutes.
It sold out in 1 minute. The shoe retailed for $1,018. That was the retail price that they sold it at. So the resale is crazy on this right now.
I said, was it topping out 10 bands?
No. 1,118.
Of the price?
No.
You look at the bottom, yeah.
Yeah, it's at $10,000 right now is the resale.
Hype beast crazy.
10 times its price.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, bro. We need to cop these shoes for the podcast, bro.
If we can get these for the podcast, fire.
We're run some experiments right now. So right now, we're gonna run on you because you're the guinea pig. What we're gonna do before you practice Satanism, I want you to do some basketball drills. Then after like a good 2 months of solid devotion to Satanism, I want you to try it again, and I want to compare the videos, see if you actually got better at basketball.
Okay. We'll check that. I got you. All right, McNasty. But let's go ahead and move on to the next subject here. We got the Biden administration is defending ICE for setting up a sting operation for foreign students going to college.
So we got this much time and this much resources to try to catch a couple
of kids, foreign kids trying to go to college right now. We're literally
all this shit we could be worrying about, and these niggas trying to stop somebody from getting an education.
Bro, it never makes any sense in this country, bro. I swear. And from my understanding, this actually didn't start under Biden. This actually started like I believe at the start of the Trump admin. I'm not exactly sure on the timeline of that, but yeah, they're defending it. Biden is literally defending it right now. And that's the crazy part. So he's defending them, literally trying to entrap kids that are just trying to go to school. What the fuck is that?
Yeah. Like, what the fuck is that?
We could be catching any other type of criminal, but some kid trying to get an education, we gotta put him in jail? Huh?
I'm trying to become a doctor. Well, we gotta go to jail.
Now that is the American dream. Now later on in the podcast, we are going to bring on a DACA student to come and talk to us about immigration stuff and stuff that we don't know, that we've never learned about, and tell us from their experience how DACA is for them. So stay posted for that section of the podcast. But McNasty, let's move on to the next subject, because you know this is a banger of a subject.
Yes, sir.
Introduce it, McNasty. Introduce it.
So your boy, Qauvo, Andrew Cuomo, you gotta put some respect on this man's name, is legalizing recreational use of the weed.
Now, he legalized it, okay? But I feel like this was just a distraction. Because you remember he was on the news like 2 weeks ago for sexual assault allegations.
Right.
It's only been like 2 weeks.
But you know what I think about that? He going out as a real one. If he goes
as a real one,
as for the sexual allegations, bro, they're gonna be like, at least he gave us weed.
He gave us something.
Like, he went down as a real one. He said, "Y'all trying to take me out? Weed." From my people who elected me and got him some weed.
Now, here's the thing, McNasty. How do you feel about the fact that at this point, a good chunk of the states have already legalized it, right? But the Biden administration recently fired a bunch of people off of like the admin, like out of the White House staff for past weed usage. But yet, Biden's current vice president has admitted to using weed, and he was a vice president under a president who also admitted to using weed, and he still has a legalized weed.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? How do we feel on this? When do you think we're gonna just legalize it altogether?
It's coming soon, definitely. Like, everybody.
What's your estimate? What's your estimate? Like, how many years?
10 years. 10, 15.
10 years for 10 to 15 before we legalize it completely?
Yeah. Because think about it. Like, 10 to 15 years is what? Like 4 terms? A little three terms.
3.5 terms, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, by then, the older, like you gotta realize, all these politicians are old as fuck. Right? So we're just electing people from they're just mad old. But, like, 3 or 4, election cycles from now, election cycles right now, you get that younger blood. Like, they're not real young, like current to age, but they understand. Like, they were
they would be Generation X. They would be like the Generation X, like the people born in the 70s and 80s. That generation.
Yeah.
More like the 70s.
Yeah.
No, more like the 80s. I would say more like the 80s. Yeah.
Early 90s.
Early maybe. 90s. Yeah.
Those are the people, that were just smoking. Just chilling. And, like, they're more accepting of it. Because, like, right now, I know parents who, like, they know they're, like, teenagers smoking weed. And it's like,
now, here's a crazy statistic. Do you know what percentage of the U.S. population actually admits to having smoked weed in their past?
Admits to it?
Admits to it.
15?
Huh?
15%.
15? You would only estimate 15?
Yeah, because like
That's
it's
low.
that old, why would you go around saying, "Yeah, I used to smoke weed"? Like you don't
15.
have to. You're too old for that.
15 is actually low.
So let's go 30,
Still low.
45,
Still low.
65%.
A little bit over 50% of the population admits to have smoking weed in their past. So half the country, 1 in 2 adults, admits that they smoked weed. And yet we still haven't legalized it. Like at this point, just legalize it. Everybody's done it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. 3-4 election cycles, you're gonna have somebody who, like, they're gonna know that's what the people want. Trying to save face, they're gonna legalize that shit right away.
Facts.
Yep. But it's like,
All right.
like a good thing and a bad thing. But like, the good thing is you get the weed. But the bad thing, like, some people don't know how to handle themselves. Like they don't have that street smart. Like I can't smoke before going to work because I know I'm not gonna do it. So why
You won't be productive.
Yeah, so why would I even risk it? But some people will be like, I'm gonna just smoke this and see how the day goes, and just fucks it up for themselves. So it's like weeding out, like weeding out people. Like
now you can say that you can make the same argument for alcohol. It's like, okay, well, most people know that you sit and day drink if you're gonna go to work. Like,
yeah.
It's the same idea.
Anyway.
So whoever was gonna do it, they're gonna do it regardless. We're not gonna be able to stop that. But no, we just gotta legalize it at this point. We're too far in the process. Shout out to New York for legalizing it. So New York and New Jersey have now made it recreational use completely legal, along with Colorado. California is recreational too, right? Yeah, California and a couple of other places, including Washington, D.C., where all the lawmakers are at. You would think that being around that, they would be able to think that it should be legal, right?
Yo, Oregon, you could smoke crack. That's crazy. Right?
Oregon went off the wall with their rules. They just said legalize everything. What the fuck, Oregon? But it makes sense for why they did it. Like there's science to back it, explaining why they legalized it.
So if you want to smoke crack in the streets, go to Oregon.
Go to Oregon. All right, McNasty. But let's move on to the next subject here. Speaking of politics, have you heard about the officers that got stabbed at the Capitol?
I have not heard about this. I'm not gonna.
Okay. Now you're gonna like this story. This shit's wild. So, a man.
Like a story about people getting stabbed? What the fuck?
No. You're gonna like the twist of the story. So, a man drove into the Capitol this week, stabbed an officer, and then attempted to kill another one, right? He killed one of the officers, did die later on due to the stabbing. The other one was just badly injured. The man was shot at the scene. But we want to play a game because normally when these type of incidents like happen, what race do you think this guy was?
You know what race it is.
Say it, McNasty.
Only one race that be doing some shit like this. And I haven't heard about it. So if it was the other way around, I would have heard it in national news, right? So we're gonna go with the caucus.
So Washington, D.C. went on lockdown shortly after this. McNasty, what if I told you that this man was black?
Was he black?
He was black, but but here's what pissed me off. This is why I hate the news. Like the news is just the worst thing to pay attention to. So it came out that he was black. They did some research on the guy. Turns out that he's a follower of the Nation of Islam on Facebook. Now, that's not the same thing as just being Islamic, like Muslims. That's not the same thing. That's like its own little group, right? Now, here's the thing. This guy was literally mentally ill. In this situation, he was mentally ill. He lost his job that same day. And then he was writing on his Facebook or something like that he believed that the CIA, the FBI, the NSA, and everybody was after him. And that's why he attacked the Capitol. This is his excuse. So this guy is literally mentally ill, but the news is painting him as an Islamic terrorist. So in an actual case of mental health, if this was a white guy, they'd be like, oh, he's mentally ill. This is an actually mentally ill person, but they're going, oh no, he's an Islamic terrorist. This shit is blowing my mind, bro. It's pissing me off.
That's fuck. So because the way you explained it, dude had a real bad day. Just so happens to be part of a group. And once they found that out, they said, yup, terrorists. That's crazy, bro.
Terrorism, bro.
Sell the news, so that's the only way they could have done it. If you think that's a headline, bro. It
is a headline.
That is a fucking headline. And
this is exactly why I hate all of the media, bro. I hate all of the media because of this.
Pick and choose, and then people are like, they really aren't educated. Once they see that headline, bro, they're like, yo. They probably don't even read the article, to be honest. They just be like, yo, you saw what happened? And they just read the headline.
That's a fact.
That's crazy.
Now, see, what the headline should have said is they should have done the same thing that the one cop did with the white dude that killed the Asian people in the parlor, where the cop was just like, oh, he was just having a bad day. This should have been one of those, oh, he was just having a bad day situations.
Bad day. No way.
Yo. All right. But let's move on from this McNasty. Let's go on to the next subject here. In sports news, have you heard this story? This one's a good one. Michael Rappaport versus KD. Did you hear into this?
I saw everything.
This is hilarious.
Wild. I love it.
All right,
that's earned my respect. I didn't because I felt like he was a team hopper and like try to go for the chip, but now I respect him. And the fact that he actually goes to winning teams to get chips, I respect him because he wants the ring and he will get it.
All right, do you want to introduce the story to the viewers and the listeners, McNasty?
So, Michael Rappaport, notorious shit talker online, said some things about KD. I guess they were in an interview and he didn't really ask him any questions that he could answer without saying yes or no. So it's kind of like set him up. It wasn't
even Michael Rappaport that was asking directly to KD. It was like after a game. He was in the, you know how they do the press conferences after the game, like about what happened. And it was like one of the people inside of there. And then Michael Rappaport commented because KD had walked out of the interview after one of the questions.
Oh yeah, he was talking online, and that's when it came out that they were messaging each other. Well, it was more like KD was messaging him and he was just being a little bitch about it, to be honest. So yeah, he called him a cum guzzling bitch. He said your wife doesn't respect you, bro. Like you had to throw hands. Somebody said that.
That's a fact.
Yo, you
now the NBA fined KD for these messages $50,000. Which is nothing, which is a drop in the bucket for what these people get paid. But that's still a lot of money. That's somebody's entire yearly paycheck.
That is a lot of money.
Jesus. So, whose side are you on?
I'm on KD's side, obviously. Like, dude was talking shit. I'm gonna talk shit back. And if you've been disrespectful,
but if you read all the messages, KD was literally ready to throw hands. He was like, meet me at a certain address at this time. We'll get this sorted.
Yeah. He said, come outside, all this shit. Dude. Yo, wild. So I just imagine, will he be posting on his burner accounts? Like, he probably be violating people.
He be violating.
And we would never know that's KD because he probably has so many burner accounts.
That's a fact, yo.
On Twitter. He's probably a mean fucking meme person.
He's a meme lord. He probably runs a meme account.
Yeah, and with millions of followers, him talking shit. And nobody will ever know. That's him.
It definitely is him. He's definitely low-key running a meme page out there under a crazy pseudonym or some shit. What do you think his name is if he ran a meme account? What do you think his name would be?
KD. It has to be something that nobody will suspect. I don't even know, to be honest. He'll probably put LeBron James Stan account.
LeBron James burner or some shit.
Yeah. There's no way that's LeBron James or KD. Some type shit like that.
No, this is wild. He's wild for this one. All right. So at the end of the day, we're gonna side with KD on this one. He definitely is in the right. Michael Rappaport can suck a dick, just like KD told him to.
Yeah. But I feel like the NBA shouldn't find that. It's technically they were talking shit. He was talking shit. He went to defend himself.
That's true.
So I was like, why is he getting fined for defending himself? Like now that
he went a little overboard. Let's be honest. He did go a little overboard. He called him a cum guzzling bitch.
All right, so here's the line. He crossed it by this much, bro. But that's not 50K's worth. That's not 50K's worth from out.
Do you imagine if he would have gone wild, said some crazy shit for real?
Yeah. Talking about dead relatives or some bullshit like that. Like,
he would have been suspended easily.
Oh, easily. It would have been a PR nightmare.
A PR nightmare, bruh.
So let's move on to the next topic here. Talk about celebrities. Qauvo and Saweetie's video got released of their incident in the elevator. What you think?
All right, so set up real quick. So if you guys remember from last episode, we did talk about the Qauvo and Saweetie story where they broke up. Now, we didn't know this information until this week about the elevator video. One thing that I learned, any type of celebrity, if you're a celebrity, stay the fuck out of elevators. The same shit happened to Jay-Z and Beyonce Solange. Did no one learn from this?
Right.
If you're a celebrity, stay out of elevators. It's a rule now.
Take the stairs, bro.
Take the stairs. It's gonna be better for your health.
Everybody needs to find the need to fight in the elevator. Do they think it's like an enclosed space with no cameras? Like all these elevators have cameras now.
No, but if you watch the video, like from the videos or perspectives, the altercation started outside of the elevator. So Saweetie apparently like smacked Qauvo and like knocked his like Call of Duty out of his hand. Like he had a box of Call of Duty and smacked it out of his hand. He drags her into the elevator with the box, and then afterwards you see him on the camera just staring there, and he looks up at the camera, motionless, when he figured out that there was a camera in the corner.
Yo, that's like the fucking meme, son. It's like at this moment he
knew. He fucked up.
That's a perfect moment, just like that. But there's two videos circulating around. The original, which shows the whole thing, and then the edited version that I've been seeing like on a lot of blogs, like different blog things, of where it looks like Qauvo just started swinging her around for no reason. But
they cut it out of context.
Yeah, the original video, you obviously see Saweetie try to lunge at him, swinging on him, and then him trying to defend himself and not let her get the Call of Duty care package. Because you can't drop a Call of Duty care package. That shit costs bread. That shit costs bread.
That's a fact, though.
How much looting you gotta do to get a care package, bro?
That is a fact. So how are we feeling on this? Equal fights, equal rights? Like, what's happening here?
So, I wouldn't say all that, but obviously she was the aggressor. He was trying to, defend himself. Now, from what we know is that's Saweetie's apartment. So obviously he was trying to leave with his Call of Duty.
Yeah, he was leaving the situation,
and she was following him, swinging on him. So he has to defend himself. Like, you ain't just gonna beat me up.
They have
a camera, because then what if he didn't do anything and just let her fuck him up? Everybody would have been like, "Oh, Qauvo, bitch,
bitch." That's a fact.
Getting beat by Saweetie, this, that, and the third. When that's not what happened at all.
That is a fact, bruh. Now, do we say like from last week's episode, we were on Qauvo, or you were on Quavo's side for taking the Bentley?
And I'm right. I was right before.
I would like to say that I want to switch sides on this situation, and you were right. I am switching sides. Qauvo was in the right. This is clearly a toxic ass relationship. Both parties are toxic. He's cheating, but she's swinging on him. So from this situation, Saweetie's looking crazy here.
Like, you're not gonna try to fuck me up, and I'm gonna let you keep my Bentley. Like,
that is a fact.
Taking my shit back, you crossed the line now, swinging on me. So.
That is a fact. Oh man. So yeah, no. Quavo's in the right, Sweetie's in the wrong. But they're both toxic. So at the end of the day, that relationship just had to end. It ran its course. All right, you guys. So for today's episode, we got a special guest. We have Maria here. Now, Maria isn't her real name. This is an anonymous name that she decided to take on in order to come on to the show and talk to us from her point of view as a DACA recipient. How she has been living under the new Biden administration. So right off the bat, Maria, do you want to tell us exactly how you got into the country?
Yeah, sure. Technically, I was 8 years old, living in Mexico. I was still really young.
Mm-hmm.
So my father had come to the U.S. prior to me and my family. He had gotten his residence, so he came to California and started working, sending money over.
Okay.
But my mom got really depressed, so we had to come back up. So I crossed the border.
Now, do you remember crossing the border, like the actual getting over here? Can you explain that?
I remember some, I remember really not knowing, but having a sense that it's scary, and I got thrown over the border.
Over the wall.
Yeah, over the wall. We climbed it over, and then an adult threw me over. So
okay.
I remember crossing over a desert kind of zone, but I don't really remember too much, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember making your way all the way up to the States, to where you live now? Do you remember that process or no?
Yeah, we were in a minivan. I remember that process. We were in a minivan and we drove all the way, I guess now, from Texas all the way to PA.
Okay, now, how long of a process in total would you say from the time that you left Mexico to the time that you ended up where you live now? How long in total?
Maybe I would say roughly it was 3 weeks or a month.
So it was 3 weeks to a month on the road, so a whole month.
Yeah, because the thing is that we flew from Puebla over to Mexico City.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then from Mexico City, we stayed where you need to stay. They have a housing kind of situation before they send you over, and then you have to wait your turn. And
what do you mean wait your turn? What do you mean by that?
Wait until the group you're gonna cross over with will cross you.
Okay.
So that took, I think, a week or a week and a half.
Now, when you get crossed by, I believe the term is coyotes, correct?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, I know that you have to pay a fee. Do you know what the fee was that they paid to cross you over?
I never really asked my dad, but I know it's probably over $1,000.
Over $1,000.
Yeah.
So $1,000 for a 1 month trip across between the two borders.
It's over, yeah, roughly. And
Okay.
I do know that prices keep going up, and that was roughly in 2007.
Okay, so it's higher than that now.
I guess, yeah.
Gotcha. So the coyotes, they have it's probably a legitimate business down there, right? Everybody knows who they are and what they do and have their money ready. Now, do they always cross people over? Do you know if any of them just take the money and never try to cross the people over?
Yeah, there is cases that they'll do that. The government really cracks down on coyotes. They're not really supposed to do any of that.
Now, which one of the governments? The Mexico government or the U.S. government?
Ooh, I would say the Mexican government.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because you still have to cross the border. I would say the Mexican government.
Okay.
Actually, literally, we from my hometown, we were crossing over with somebody, but they split us up before we crossed.
Mm-hmm.
And they were gonna wait. They were gonna go the group after us. And actually, after we had left, a day after, the cops, I guess, or what you would call the Mexican,
Like the
kind of like
police?
their cops up there, yeah.
Okay.
Crack down the place, and they sue. I don't know, like if they feed the coyotes or they try to get the basics of it, and the people caught into that. I don't know what really happened, but then they had to restart. They went back to the hometown and then like give it a month and try it again.
Try again. Wow.
And try again.
But
Oh,
they
yeah.
lost the money, that they.
So it's like starting
Yeah.
over from scratch. Now,
Yeah.
are you able to pay in dollars or do you have to pay in like Mexican pesos?
I'm not sure because like I wasn't the one that paid, and I
Okay.
never really asked, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Now, once you made it into the States, how do you feel like your integration into the country? Like, how did that go? Like,
by that,
how did you
mean-
how did you adapt to like a new life? Because you're literally living a brand new life. You don't know the language.
Yeah.
Like, how did you adapt?
I mean, I was still kind of young, but like
Mhm.
in school, like I took ESL instead of regular English. I remember actually, we were eating in the cafeteria, so there were certain things that you do in Mexico that are really weird. I guess here wouldn't be common. Like
Different
I
customs,
remember
yeah.
I remember
Mhm.
sitting down in the cafeteria and they had given us pizza, and I had in Mexico you put ketchup on your pizza. So I put ketchup on my
Ketchup.
pizza, and I
Wait, time out. No, that is weird. Why are you putting ketchup on pizza?
That-
There's already tomato sauce. You don't put tomato sugar on it.
That's something that was common for me over there, So I didn't think anything of putting, like I didn't think
Yeah.
anything of it. But I remember I did that, and everybody just looked at me and they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, because there were some Spanish people, and I remember I didn't eat lunch that day because I got so embarrassed, and I was like, I was like, there's little stuff like that. I remember.
Uh-huh.
I remember, like mentally saying like I'm gonna get this down. I have to learn English. So that was something that was always in my head. I tried to take as much English classes I can get.
Mhm.
And my accent is something that always kind of bothered me. And I'm not sure if it's because I always kind of wanted to blend in with everybody,
Do you feel like it makes you stand out in a crowd?
Yeah. Like I feel like you can
Mhm.
identify that I wasn't born here because of my accent.
Now, since you came at such a young age, do you feel like you identify more with being Mexican or more with being like American or like a blend of both? How do you identify?
I feel like I am in the middle. Like I'm neither from there or neither from here. You know what I mean? Like
That sounds like that sucks.
because I was raised here,
Yeah.
right? But I
Mhm.
was born there. But if I go to Mexico, I know nothing of, like
Of your life back home, and that's
Yeah.
one of the biggest problems that a lot of people have with like sending like young children that lived their whole life here in America and like immigrated here when they were little. So one of the biggest issues is like these kids don't know anything about their life back in their other countries. So it's like sending them to a brand new home.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
and like even like with my hometown, like they'll post pictures on Facebook and stuff, and I'll like kind of remember
Bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, but it's not like I ever been back, and it's been since 2007, so it's been how many years? 14 years.
14.
Yeah, that's a long time. That's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Now, do you feel like if you, in case of a situation that you were to be sent back at any time, do you feel like you would be able to establish a new life in a different country? Do you think that's something you would be able to do?
So I have spoken about it because when Trump was trying to get rid of DACA, I was freaking out, and my parents and I talked, and they said, well, you can maybe find a job in Mexico or Puebla, like bigger states, like bigger
Mhm.
economies over there in Mexico, that you can be a bilingual.
Mhm.
But I feel like personally, my Spanish isn't up there to be.
You feel like you don't speak Spanish well enough that you feel like you could fend for yourself in a different country.
Correct. I don't know what I would do, over there.
Okay, that does sound like a struggle. Now, you touched on the subject of Trump here. Now, exactly how did you feel like with all of the policy changes and his platform that he was pushing while he was president? Like, how did that make you feel like while you were under? Because you literally can't vote within our election or our electoral system. So you have no say in the situation. You're pretty much just getting bossed around by the person up top. How do you feel about that?
So when he came in office, he was so quick about trying to provoke stuff, and he put a hold on the DREAM Act, and it was roughly the time. Okay.
Now, for the people that don't understand what the DREAM Act is and the DACA situation, could you give a little brief explanation, since you have more understanding of that than we do?
Yeah, DACA is like a permit protection. Like, you get some protection, you know what I mean? Like, you can get your working social. You have a working social, so it's not like a regular social. It says working permanent social on it.
Okay.
You can get an ID, but by the state. You can get licensed in the state. You can travel in the U.S., but you cannot travel outside.
So you can't leave the country.
You can't leave. There's no. The only way I heard that you can leave is if you have an urgent emergency. You have to ask for like a temporary leave. But it's so hard to get one, because I tried to get one for an aunt that was dying because of cancer, and they said that wasn't an emergency.
They said that wasn't an emergency?
Yeah, to me, because it wasn't like.
What do they actually count as an emergency then?
I'm not really sure, because my say was, she was like a second mom to me. We were with her for we lived with her, so she was like a second mom to me. And she had breast cancer, and so I wanted to see my aunt before she passed away or whatever, and to them she wasn't urgent enough for me to leave. Another thing that they would be able to do is, like, let's say I was in college and I wanted to study abroad, or I would be able to apply, but supposedly that's supposed to be able to get proof, but I'm not sure, because I never tried.
Okay, now a subject that you've mentioned to me about, especially is with your schooling situation, because under DACA, you said that you have to actually pay more for school if you actually wanted to get like a college degree.
That goes by state. So
it depends on the state.
Yeah. Technically in PA, anyone who doesn't have residence has to be charged an international fee. Yeah, so international.
They charge you as if you were a foreign exchange student.
Yes, correct. So in PA, that's triple the amount a regular person pays. But if you go to New Jersey, they actually passed, I don't remember what year, they passed a DACA recipient pays the same amount as a regular state resident. So, if you've been living there, you pay the same thing as somebody else.
Gotcha.
Okay, now, if from your perspective, do you think that, because you had dreams of going to school from what you've told me,
yes.
Do you feel like your life would be completely different after if you were able to get a degree at a reasonable price compared to other students?
Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't have given up, or I tried, but what I mean, but it was just too much. Like where I was trying to go was 30. It was a private college, so there were 33,000 a year.
Mhm.
I had gotten a private scholarship from the school for, I don't remember if it was 17,000 a year or 19,000 a year, which was roughly half. You know,
Half of the amount.
yeah, and that seems reasonable for a
Mhm.
scholarship, you know.
That's actually a lot of money for a scholarship, actually.
And
Especially if they're paying that yearly.
yeah, and then to come find out I had to pay triple because of my status. Just it would have been what, 33,000 times 3 would be like over 90 grand a year.
A year.
Yeah, that's an insane amount.
And were you just going for like a full bachelor's, or were you thinking of as associates, or what?
Yeah, I wanted to go for a bachelor's in business administrations, and I wanted to get a minor in finance. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Now, I feel like the U.S. does a really bad job when it comes to leveraging people that are in your situation, because if the reasonable thing to do would be to actually make it easier for people with your status to be able to go to school, because then you could actually then put those people into the workforce and they would just generate you money.
Yeah.
Like they would make you more, you would make more money in the long run by just helping them along to finish school.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel like them not allowing you to go to school at a reasonable rate, do you feel like that could sometimes be rooted in some type of racism or anything like that, or no?
So here's the thing.
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of states still haven't changed their policies around. DACA is still kind of relatively new. Like, I think when was it, 2008? And let's say here in PA, we haven't really forced for a change, or maybe they haven't come across the fact that, hey, there's people here that may not have residence, but there's DACA, now they can work or whatever, and they're in the schools without getting feared. Because before DACA, a lot of people in my situation wouldn't even go to school. Like,
they would just avoid it.
They would go work with their parents. They wouldn't even go to school because of getting caught in the bad situation. You know what I mean? So I think times have changed, and I think that laws have to get on that. Like, I think that they have to change. So
now,
if there's no...
Now, a common misconception that a lot of people I know have is the fact that they believe that people that are on DACA and these type of programs don't contribute to any type of taxes. So why should they be able to get any benefits or anything like that from the state? From your perspective, how would you argue that?
Okay, so I pay taxes. City taxes, state taxes. The little tax fee we get at the end of the year that comes to our name. It's like $2, whatever, for where we're at. I pay like everybody else, but when it comes to getting, I don't know, WIC, any kind of help from the government, I don't do it. Unemployment, let's say unemployment, stuff like that. I don't do it because if I ever want to get my residence, that is taken into account.
They take that into account against you. So if you are in literal need for any type of assistance, they take that into account when they're trying to qualify you for this stuff?
For residence, yes.
Oh, wow.
Because
now, was that implemented under Obama's DACA, or was that later implemented by Trump or Biden? Do you know if that was later on or from the beginning?
No,
beginning.
I mean, to my understanding, that's always been there. Like, this is what I heard from my parents and people around that are older. People back in New York, when they used to not have residence, they would go and get food stamps and stuff like that. And then once they would go for their residence, that, they had no protection at all. They would look at that and be like, why were you getting any kind of hope when you weren't, you know what I mean? Like you weren't. They see as bad, like you're getting help and here you're trying to get your residency. You know what I mean?
Now, the reason why I asked that last question is because I know that one of the changes that happened under the Trump administration was in the process to actually apply, like when you were legally applying to come into the country. He changed one of the steps, and you actually have to show that you are financially like able to support yourself to come into the country and not require any type of like assistance. That was one of the changes that Trump made under his administration. I'm not sure if it affected DACA in any way or not.
I don't know. Because we're already here,
Okay, so you wouldn't know that from your end if that affected you.
But I do know, like, okay, so my husband's asking for me to have my residence, and in that process, we have to, since we file taxes together, we have to show that we make enough money.
So you have proof of income and stuff like that.
Yeah, proof of income. And if we weren't able to make like that specific amount that they needed per person or for family, then I would have to ask for what's it called, a sponsor.
So would that be like a family member, or would that be somebody already inside the country? How does that work?
Yeah, family member, that can be like, oh yeah, well, I make enough or stuff like that.
Now, is a sponsor like, so like when you take out a loan, you can have like a guarantor, like that somebody would take on the debt in case the other person can't pay, right? Now, is a sponsor the same thing? Like if in case you can't survive or something like that, would the sponsor be responsible for you?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I just know that with like situations I have heard, because I like he asked, and I had asked my lawyer, like, hey, what happens if we don't make enough? Because that was one of my biggest questions, because I knew someone that didn't make enough, they asked somebody else. And she told me in my case that not to worry about it since we both work. You know, like what I mean? Like my husband and I both work, so we should be able to make enough. Now, in other cases where it's just like, let's say I didn't have DACA and I didn't have a working permit, he would have to make enough for me. You know what I mean? Like
to support you.
Yeah, to support me. Like that way they know I wouldn't be able to take out money from the government. Okay.
Now, you said that you have a lawyer for this process. Now, do you know how much in legal fees this has cost you? Like, do you have like a record of that?
No. Every year, every 2 years, DACA gets renewed.
Now, do you have to start the process, or is it just done automatically for you?
No, I go up and see my lawyer every year. Like I have to process that. Like, okay, a letter comes, I think, and it tells no letter comes to the house. I have to keep a track of when my DACA is about to expire, and it has changed over time. I think right now is like every 4 months prior to it expiring, you have to go.
You have to start the process.
Yeah, you have to start the process again to renew it. So I call my lawyer and I'll be like, okay, like I'm going to see you. She'll give me there's two, let's say, there's 2 payments you have to take. So she'll send me the amounts and I'll go get, the checks, not the checks, what they call the money orders. Okay. Because it has to be money orders that you have to send out. I'll go get the money orders and I'll go up there. I'll sign paperwork. Then I'll get a letter in the house saying that they got the paperwork and it's in process. And I get another one saying they approved it or they denied it. And then with that comes an appointment to go to Philadelphia for them to take my fingerprints and my picture.
Okay.
And then, and then I get my new like working permit. It's like an ID with my photo, and
Oh, so they give you new IDs every time you renew too.
it's not an ID. It's every time I renew, I go get an ID, but it looks like an ID. My DACA looks like an ID kind of thing, like a residence.
Okay. So it's like a card that you get to let them know that it's renewed for the year. Okay.
Okay. All right, that makes sense. Okay. Now you said that your husband is the one applying. So your husband is a U.S. citizen then.
Yes.
Now, how from his perspective, how do you think this has affected him? Do you think this has affected him at all or no?
Yeah. When the whole Trump administration was trying to get rid of DACA, had put DACA on hold, I had resent my application. I sent it 3 times, and twice it got rejected. And within that time period, I felt like I was going through some depression. So like I feel like a lot of guilt came into his hands where, to be honest, he shouldn't feel any guilt. You know, it's not his fault I'm in this situation. He felt kind of hopeless. He kind of wished that he can just change things like quick, you know, because I was going in through like a really bad depression where I thought I was gonna lose my ability to work. And at the time I was in college, my ability to go to college. And I thought I was gonna have to either work illegally under a job that's only gonna pay me like, I don't know how much they pay an hour, but it's not as much as you working legally. Or I was gonna stay home and be a housewife, which in my eyes I never wanted to be. So
that's
I feel like
that you
it
didn't look
affected him
forward
that
to.
way. Yeah, I feel like it affected him that way because he had some guilt in his hands where it shouldn't not been.
Now, another common misconception that I see a lot with people that have that are against DACA and stuff like that is that they believe that people that come into the country actually work less than the people that work here. How would you argue that?
You know, I think that unless you're in somebody else's shoes, you really don't ever know what people go through. A lot of people do roofing, you know, that's a pretty dangerous job. You know, you're falling off, you're gonna get injured really badly or you're gonna die, you know.
Yeah, it's a job that a lot of people don't want to do.
Yeah, construction, you're out there in the sun. A lot of people do farming around the States. Bending over with that sun on you, like, it's just jobs that people don't want to take. And it's not like, hey, I'm working an 8-hour shift. It's maybe you'll be leaving the house by like 5 in the morning or early in the morning to drive an hour from here. And you're coming back around like 9, you know, like what I mean? I feel like unless you're going through what certain people go through, you really don't ever know.
Makes sense. That does make sense.
You know?
Now, in the transition from the Trump presidency over to the Biden administration, how do you feel about that? About the transition?
A lot better. So, what Trump had done towards the end of his presidency, I'm not sure if it had changed, but I have to look into it actually. Trump made it to the point that it's extremely hard for your like for anything, like to renew your DACA. Under Obama, let's say I didn't renew my DACA, right? A month went by, I had forgotten about it or whatever. So it expired. And then I'll go get renewed, whatever. Get it renewed, there was no problem. under Trump, you let that expire, you're not getting DACA again. You can't renew it for nothing. You'll get denied. Another thing that he had done, is put DACA on hold. No new recipients were able to apply for it and get it. So meaning anybody that was turning, I think the age was like 15 or something, that they weren't getting it. And a lot of people were scared to apply. A lot of people were scared to reapply because, in those paperworks, you fill out your address, where you live, everything, they have everything. So a lot of people were scared because he was trying to finish that. So we were scared that, hey, they're going to come to the house and take us. In some situations, the parents don't have residence.
Yeah.
So it's like people were really scared. One other thing he was doing, another thing that he was doing, like when he had the whole process in hold, like in my case, I was sending my paperwork and money for it to get it renewed, and I got denied twice.
Now, do they keep the money or do they refund the money when they deny it?
So it was 2 checks that I was sending. I think one's like for $495 and one was for like $150, which like roughly $700, let's say. And they were keeping the small check.
So they would send you the 400 back. They would send the 400 and keep the 150.
Yeah, the 470, 475, 495 they were keeping. I was getting back, and then the small one they were keeping.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So you're sending in this money and, is on a whim that you might even get approved, because $700 is a lot to get rounded up. Then you have to go and send it out to not even know that it's guaranteed that something's going to get processed. What type of stress does that put you under?
Yeah, the first time I was actually like nervous because I was hearing cases that people were getting denied, and I was like, sending $700 here, that could be like 2 months of rent.
Yeah.
For it to, like in my case, I didn't know if it was gonna come back or not. I didn't know. I just sent it.
Yeah.
And the way I was looking at it was, if this gets approved, it's whatever, I'm gonna get that money back. It's all for good cause,
Yeah.
So
do you think it's like they're trying to discourage people from reapplying because of that uncertainty?
I think they were. Like, I'm honestly telling you the truth. A lot of people didn't renew their DACA under Trump. Like, they were scared.
So there's a lot of DACA recipients that just stopped reapplying because they just didn't know if they were going to lose that money at any time.
Yeah, or the fact that he might end the program, and like I said, we were gonna lose our DACA, and they have all our information. We didn't know what are they gonna come for us. Like, a lot of people didn't want to give their information. A lot of people were afraid of what we don't know. We weren't sure what was going on at all.
Now, are you afraid that if in 2024, if Trump were to rerun and he by some chance got elected again, would you be afraid if he became president again?
Yeah, that's another thing that a lot of people that know my situation really be like, you have to get your residence, because he's going to rerun, and you don't know if he's going to get reelected. And at this point, he might rerun and really come for DACA.
Now, how long in your residency process are you? Like, are you far out from it?
Technically, I just have to me and my husband have to write like a whole paper, 4 pages, kind of saying how it financially would be bad if I were to stay in Mexico, like how it would financially affect them emotionally, what kind of...
So essentially they're making you write an essay for why you need to stay?
Yeah, before I leave, because the thing is, with my situation, I have to go to somewhere in Mexico. I forget the name of it. And they have to do a whole physical on me. Like, they'll check for any tattoos, anything that they can relate to gangs, any piercings.
Wait. So they have to send you back to Mexico to try to verify that you. What exactly are they checking for? Like, just like.
They're checking for me to kind of. They're checking that I'm not related to gangs. I haven't had any criminal background.
But they would be able to do that from inside the states. They wouldn't have to send you back to Mexico for that. That's something they could do here.
That is something they do here for most cases, but in my case, because I think I came after 2002.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, I have to go back to my, Mexico, and they do the whole process over there. But still, like, for me, that's where I'm on hold, because I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're like, if they can do it here, it would be nice, because I don't have that insecurity of not coming back, Yeah. That's just how I feel.
Now, do you think that they're racially profiling you? Because why would they wouldn't make anybody else like go to a certain place to have you checked out to make sure that you're like not a part of like any gangs? Do you think like they're racially profiling you, assuming that you would be a part of a gang? That's what I feel. That's what it sounds like to me. That's racial profiling.
As long as I'm concerned, as long as you didn't apply for residence before a certain period, we're all like Mexican wise that I know certain people, they have to go before. I think it was like if you applied for your residence after 2001. I'm not sure, to be honest. That's something a lawyer might be able to answer correctly.
Okay, now that we're under the Biden administration, what do you feel are some of the best things that he's done for immigration and some of the worst things? Because I know that he's tried to undo some of the damage that Trump did under his administration, but he's not doing I would say he's not doing the best job, because he still has kids in cages, and people say that right now we have actually an estimated more kids in cages right now under Biden than we did under Trump.
Okay, so with the whole DACA situation, as far as I'm concerned, he is trying. What was he trying to do? Trying to open up the whole DACA process again, so new recipients cannot reapply again. I know. Oh, another thing that Trump had done was that he wanted to make DACA a 1-year renewal. So meaning every year you would have to renew it. As far as I'm concerned, supposedly what I understand is that he was trying to stop that too. And he's trying to get the whole process back to how it was. He wants the whole DACA thing how it was prior to Trump changing so much that he did, As far as kids in cages, I'm sure that's still happening. More kids in cages, what I have heard is that there's a situation in Honduras, I think it is. Or I'm not sure. I didn't even look it up, to be honest. I know somebody was telling me at work, but I didn't really look it up. That their government is so provoked right now that people are getting so frustrated, and they're sending their kids without them, without the parents. They're going and they're sending their kids.
They're risking or trying to save their kids' lives by getting them out of Honduras and taking the risk of sending them into the U.S. by themselves.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I like I said, someone had told me at work, and I have heard about it twice, but I haven't really done my research on that. So that's my understanding. I'm sure it's probably in the news somewhere, or you would have to look it up. I don't want to give false information, but that's what I keep hearing, that they're getting really frustrated that they're sending their kids.
Okay. Now, from my understanding, one of the changes that Biden also did, like early on in his presidency, was that he removed the term illegal immigrant and illegal alien, I believe, from all like legal documents within like that has to do with any type of immigration documents. Do you feel like that helps in any way, or does that affect you? Do you think that he just removed the wording? You can't use that to when you're speaking about people that cross the border. Do you think that helped you?
I mean, maybe it will in some kind of sense. Since I kind of grew up with that, it just seems like there's no difference to me.
It feels like it's like it was a pointless law that he just put into effect.
But well, maybe for some people it might feel better, but since I kind of grew up with it, I never questioned if it sounded right or wrong to call somebody an illegal alien and stuff like that. It sounds wrong, but I grew up with it, so I don't know.
That's just normal to you.
It's normal to me. It sounds like he's doing it maybe for how it sounds, or I don't know. But
I'm not sure. I wasn't sure on the reasoning, so that's why I wanted to ask you, because maybe it could have been like that could be how like they use derogatory words to different races and stuff like that. That could have been like something that was derogatory to people that are under DACA or came in illegally that I just didn't know about, that I wouldn't be aware about. So I wanted to see from your perspective if that's how you felt about it.
I mean, I don't know. Most people don't really know that I even have DACA. Like, most people would think that I was born here, to be honest. And I, over time, have been learning how to be more open about it, because I think that that's another thing, I had met someone not that long ago, probably around September, and he thought I was born here or whatever. And when I had told him, like, hey, my truth, there was a lot of questions that he even asked that he didn't know. Now, he's an older person. I don't know, roughly 40 years, and has always grew up here in PA. And PA, as bad as I don't really want to say it, is mostly whites, and they have a lot of history with, I guess, the racism. That person had told me that growing up in his house, racist jokes were normal. There was not one black person in their high school and stuff like that. Like, that's what he grew up with. And he's 40 something or 40 whatever. And he thought I didn't pay taxes. He thought I was stealing the government's money, and I was doing this and that, like kind of like the racism, like whatever they all think that we do, I'm stealing your job and shit, like
how most conservatives would describe like a person that came into the country. Yeah.
And when I would tell him, I'm like, I can't do that. I pay taxes. I can't come for I can't collect. I can't do any of that. He was in shock.
It's a culture shock. Most people that have those points of views, they do not understand like anything outside from their own reality. They wouldn't be able to understand that concept. Yeah,
he was shocked. But I think the fact that he had gotten to know me prior to me telling him my truth, and knowing what kind of person I am, he wanted to learn more, and he was more open about it, and he was more open-minded about it.
Now, like, do you think like having open conversations like that help? Do you think that helps change people's minds, or some people you just can't change?
Yes, I do, because let's say he had met me right prior to me telling him my truth or whatever, and he, we had gone like really close as people, and let's say we had a really good friendship, like he would have never guessed until, I told him. He had asked me, like, why don't I ever go back to school? Like, I always talk about, like, wanting to go back. Like, what's stopping me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I opened up and I said, like, listen, like, I'm not resident,
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't shocked. And I said, like, we talked about it. And he kind of pitied me in a way,
mm-hmm.
which I think him feeling bad for me kind of let him listen more to my story. Because let's say if it would have been somebody else that he didn't know, that he didn't get to know one-on-one, he probably would have never heard that person's story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, over time, I have learned that we shouldn't be close about it. I mean, this is what's going on. So why are we shutting our mouths and not saying, hey, I have DACA?
Yeah.
There's people with so much good stories. Like, there's people that had, like, their doctors, their lawyers, and they have DACA. I know we were talking about David.
Oh, yeah. I was telling you about David Dobrik. So if you guys know the YouTube creator David Dobrik on YouTube, he has a massive channel. He's also a DACA recipient. And also the rapper 21 Savage is also a DACA recipient as well.
Yeah, and I think with their platform,
mm-hmm.
Where they have so many people that watch them.
You think they should advocate more?
Yeah, that they should. Because there's no point of us staying shut. We have to have a voice and we have to stand up.
Mm-hmm.
There's people that are going through this, and there's more people we can help. You know, that, like I said, I pay taxes. We spoke about going to school and being well for this, for the U.S. So I don't see there's anything wrong with it. I mean, people might have their opinions, but at the end, I see it being financially well for the states. It
would help the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, for the last question here, what is something that you would want somebody who is not in your situation to know about somebody that is in your situation? What's something that you would give, like a piece of advice?
What do you mean?
Like, what would you give as a piece of advice to somebody who's not in your situation on how to treat somebody that's in your situation? To, let's say, maybe just start a conversation around the subject. That's a tough question, I know.
Yeah.
Would you say, like, in the last situation that you explained with the guy who didn't know anything about you, would you say that maybe just be more empathetical towards people in your situation?
Yeah. Let's say some people, like I had said, you really don't know what someone's going through if you're not in their situation.
Mm-hmm.
I have been in situations where people don't really know that that's the reason that I'm not back in school, and they'll think they know where I'm at. They'll think that I'm a regular U.S. born citizen that just was maybe, like, in a sense, in their eyes, maybe lazy not to go to college or whatever the case it might be, or I'm still young, you can go back, or whatever. Like,
mm-hmm.
Unless you're in someone's situation, try to be a little more understanding. Yeah, don't be too critical. Don't be too critical.
That's
unless you're
advice.
In someone's situation, don't expect, like, the whole thing. Yeah.
All right, that is some good advice. All right, Maria, we want to go ahead and thank you for coming on to the show and giving us your perspective. Ignacio, anything else you want to close out with here?
Nah, thank you for the insight. Yeah, definitely agree with you. People should, ask more questions to find out the truth. Like it's okay to ask questions if you're genuinely curious. So educating people about like what you can and can't get definitely would remove some of the stigma. Definitely get a lot of more people's attention, see how, you know, messed up the system actually is. Because honestly, like people cross over here to have a better life, but starting off, you're gonna do those jobs that, like you said, that nobody really wants, like all those construction jobs, all those farming jobs, things like that. And then on top of that, the system makes it harder for you to go and get an education to get a better job and contribute to society in a better way. So it kind of like they want to trap you down in that lower class almost. So it makes it kind of hard for you to, you know, progress and, you know, ultimately come and enjoy the American dream that you left your home for. So, yeah, totally.
Is there anything that you learned today?
Well, we learned a lot. I didn't know a lot of these processes or anything like that. Especially with like you having to go back for like to get like a physical done. I did not know that at all.
I didn't know that like you had to pay that much to, you know, to keep yourself enrolled. Like I always knew there was a fee, but I didn't know it'd be that much. And then for them to like keep some of it if you get rejected and that's not guaranteed, like that's kind of messed up, especially if you're doing what you have to do and you still have that uncertainty. I think it's real messed up, actually.
Yeah, under Trump, that's where the project went. When right now, if things keep rolling the way they were, we should be fine. As long as you don't have any criminal record or you didn't do anything wrong, there's no reason for you not to be able to get that renewed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like I feel like they have these processes in place, you know, to keep out the people who are trying to come in here and do like illegal things. But ultimately, it's hurting the people who actually come here to, you know, progress in life.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. That's really what's going on. That they're so paranoid or they think that we're trying to do something else, which I understand, you know.
Yeah.
But they should give us a chance. This is people that have high school diplomas that went to school here, that might be in college, may own a house at this point. You know, I think we should be given a chance like everybody else. You know?
Correct. That's some good advice. Again, we want to go ahead and thank you again for coming on to the podcast, Maria. We'll definitely, if you ever want to come back on, let us know, and we'll definitely let you back onto the show as well.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Right. Thank you. See ya. All right, but that brings us to the last subject of today's episode. As always, if you like the episode, make sure you follow us on all of our streaming services and platforms that we're on. We're on every single platform except for Apple Music, Big Nasty. How do you feel about that?
Yo, Apple Music, you're fucking hating right now. Just approve.
Listen. I know that I've talked shit on Steve Jobs and what's the other dude's name? The dude that runs it now. Fuck, I forgot his name. Tim Apple. Yeah. That's not really his name, but I keep calling him Tim Apple. That's probably why he doesn't let us on the platform. But yeah, no. Stop hating on us. Put us on the platform. But yeah, we're available on every single major platform. If you like the podcast and want to see the video form is also available on the main channel on the YouTube. And also we have a separate clips channel for the individual segments throughout the episode. In case you don't want to watch the entire thing, you can just skip to the clips of the videos. McNasty, do we got anything posted on the TikTok yet or no?
TikTok is coming up. We have to do some edits because we have potty mouths. So once we get that figured out, we're gonna have multiple clips on there. Link is in our link tree. All of our actual links to all of our podcast videos, clips channels, full video channels, it's all in that link tree. Make sure you give it a click.
McNasty, should we add all of our social media links for like our personal social media links to the link tree or no?
They're not ready for the Snapchat.
They're not ready for Snapchat. What about Instagram? Should we say
the IG?
IG
for them. I'm put the IG on there.
All right, we'll add the IG in. So if you guys want to add us on anything, you can go on to linktr.ee linktr.ee/hi notes with an S podcast. And again, that's linktree/high notes podcast, and you can add us on there. Anything else you want to add to before we let everybody go on this episode, McNasty?
Oh yeah, I just got a weird notification saying your card was declined. You're trying to get Bad Baby's OnlyFans account set up.
Hey yo, what?
She just turned 18 a couple days ago. You hopping on that wave right away?
No, time out. Before we end the podcast, this is a bonus section real quick. To all the weirdos that made this bitch $1 million in 6 hours, what is wrong with you people?
Thanks.
Hey yo, and they called Drewski in this mess. You seen the Drewski IG live? He brought Lil Yachty on.
Promoted that shit.
No way.
Yeah, bro. I was like, bro, at least give it a couple months, guys.
Facts, bro. Y'all thirsty out here. The streets is dry apparently.
Yo, you
crazy.
Remember when Academics account got hacked? It was this tweet, got mad titties for a 15-year-old.
I don't think he was hacked. I don't think he was hacked on that either. That was definitely him, bro. You know that was him, bro.
Fucking dead.
All right, you guys. But yeah, that'll wrap up the episode for this week. We'll catch you in the next one. All right, McNasty, time for a quick ad break here. Now, do you know how you can find any one of the segments that we're going to talk about in the podcast separately in the episode?
Yeah, you could definitely visit our link tree. We have our different accounts there. We have our YouTube clip channel, which actually just shows certain segments that we talked about on the show. Really diced up for you. We also have the original channel where you could find the long version of the whole podcast, and then several other links to get our podcast on like Google Music. What other ones?
We're on Breaker. We're on Play Podcast. We're on Spotify. We're on Anchor FM. We have the TikTok also in there. Now we haven't posted anything onto the TikTok yet. We just had the account made. McNasty's working on that. We'll get something out there soon enough. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and add us on any of these platforms, please feel free to add us by using the link tree. That is linktr.ee/hi notes with an S podcast. And again, that's linktree/hi notes podcast to get more. But back to the episode.